My name is Sara. I am a compulsive eater. I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet. I write them down. I call them into my sponsor and I eat what I say I'm going to eat. I don't eat in between meals no matter what. And May 24th, 2009, knock on wood, is my last day one. So I went to my first gray sheet meeting and I was a couple of days just about to turn 35, and I am 72 today, 72 and a half. Yeah, ooh. And up to that point, that 35 years, I had never had a normal relationship with a bite of food. I had binged, I had lied, I had cheated, I had stolen money to get food. I was a pretty irresponsible person and an inconsiderate person. And my sister took me to my first gray sheet meeting in 1983. And it was in Cambridge. And at that point, gray sheet was about 3 years old as an entity. And oh, I wasn't expecting to be second. So I'm going to do what Michael said, and I'm just going to acknowledge I'm nervous also. Thank you for your example. So I went to my first meeting, and I had already been in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I had been to OA for about 4 years. But what I saw in this meeting in Cambridge had really stunned me. And I heard the words "no matter what" for the first time in my life. And I did get abstinent. I got myself a sponsor, and I lived in California. I went back to California, and I was abstinent for 5 months, and then I binged. And I disappeared. I put my tail between my legs, and I was so ashamed. I wanted the earth to open up and swallow me. And I disappeared, and then until about 2005, I would come and I would go, and I would come to OA meetings, and then I would leave. And then some people moved out to California that were abstinent on the gray sheet and called me. And I said I would help them start meetings, but I was what's known as a half measure. I really had no intention of getting abstinent. And I did finally join the fellowship of GreySheeters Anonymous in December of 2005. But I had 4 day ones after that. But from that time in December 2005, I weighed and measured every meal, and I called my sponsor, and I didn't go anywhere because I'd been everywhere, and there was no use going anywhere because I'd already been there. And I've had lots of time. That's almost 11 years. Well, it's almost 15 years since that December, and it's almost 11 years since I've been abstinent. And so I've had a lot of time to think about what changed. And so I'm giving you my best guess. I don't think I really understand this miracle of abstinence and sobriety and not doing what we're hardwired to do. I don't really understand it, but I know what I didn't do. And what I didn't do was surrender at all. I don't remember even hearing the words, "don't make an independent food decision." I don't remember that at all. If I had heard it, I would have said, well, that doesn't apply to me. And I would do that over and over, little things, which led to big things, but I didn't make the equation. I did hear "no matter what," but like was just said, I didn't understand that it applied to everything. And that when it comes to food, as the second step says, I am completely and utterly insane. I do the same thing over and over and over again, and somehow think it's going to be different. That's my definition of insanity. So I think when I came back in 2005, I Well, let's say this. On May 24th, when I finally had my last day one, I think what I realized was that I hadn't done anything right, or I'd be abstinent. And so I told myself I was going to do everything the opposite of what I'd done. I hadn't made my 3 phone calls a day, even though I was told to. I started making those 3 phone calls. I called my sponsor, and I didn't change my food unless I called. I had an incident that a lot of people have heard because I talk about it. It happened about 4 months into my abstinence, and I was making dinner, and I was pouring one thing on top of another thing, and we don't do that. We measure things separately. And I had like 1/8 of an ounce over, and I picked up this bowl, and I was going to go into the TV room, and I jokingly say, I think my higher power just really took pity on me, because I somehow went around my island. I put that bowl in the sink, and I started all over again, making my dinner. And I had a visceral sense of relief of, oh, that's what we mean by no matter what. I didn't do it right, and I redo it. And there aren't people dying in China, so I don't have to eat every bite, even though that's what my parents told me. I have a disease. I'm not a normal eater. I'm an abnormal eater. That's not all that went through my mind. I don't think I really heard anything. What I felt was, oh my God, this is what no matter what means. And then I realized that my first bite for me is not a piece of food, it's a thought. And I realized you guys were saying to me all along, okay, you're abstinent. You haven't eaten, you've got your 90 days, but if you want to stay abstinent, you're going to have to change your thinking 180 degrees. You're going to have to change your behavior 180 degrees. And I was willing. I'd had it. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of living in hell. And it, just like was said earlier, it felt easier. It actually felt easier to do the step work and to sponsor people and to raise my hand. I'd never raised my hand when people asked for service positions. Never. My time was too valuable. I mean, I really was a shit. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't use words like that, but I was not a nice person. And I just did what you guys told me to do. I don't know why I had the willingness on that day, why I have the willingness this morning. I know that what I did yesterday, I went to bed abstinent, so that's why I do today exactly what I did yesterday, because I don't want to find out if I leave something out, oh my God, that's the thing. So I don't get on my knees. I was raised a Quaker. We'd never get on our knees, but I sit and I pray every morning. I meditate. I have a quiet time. I try my best to listen to my higher power. I write things down. At the end of the day or the next morning, I just look at my list of, did I accomplish these things? And if I didn't, what do I still need to do? I do a lot of service, and I used to moan and groan and moan and groan and moan and groan about it, that, oh, poor me, I just do so much service. And I was doing a lot. And about 2 months ago, it hit me that, you know, because of my age, I'm hoping it's because of my age, I've gained weight in the last 3-4 years of abstinence. And
5 minutes.
Thank you, Eileen. I don't see, oh, there you are. I've gained weight, and even though I've had food taken away, my weight won't change, and it's quite annoying. But I realized about 2 months ago that if I didn't have as much service as I had, I would be thinking about it, and I would start thinking, I have a diet mentality. I was raised dieting, and I would start thinking, oh, God, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. I don't think I would, but it would take up an awful lot of space in my head thinking about it and then trying not to think about it. And I periodically think about it, like the last day of the month and then the first day of the month. And then I have to let it go. And that for me is why I do so much service. I just really have to keep this chatter, shut up, shut up. And I don't know quite how to do it except for to do something else. So I believe I was born with a big hole in my soul. And I really believe that people like us, we can't just not do something. We have to fill that hole with something else. And this program, these 12 steps, having the friendships that I have in GreySheeters Anonymous, there are 55 people on this meeting that all showed up, and we're all kind of worried about what's going on in the world right now, but we all showed up because the most important thing in my life today is I don't eat no matter what. And I also feel like I'm prepared for whatever's going to happen because you guys taught me I plan, I pray, I prepare, and I do whatever it takes to protect my abstinence. And if I have to stay in this apartment for the next 3 months, I have enough food. I'm not sure I have enough toilet paper. I didn't know that was something to get, but I have enough food. Is that my time? Well, I heard some, okay. And it's all because you guys have taught me that, and you've taught me to stay calm and that I have a higher power, the world has a higher power, the group has a higher power, and I'm not it. And so I just have to do my part. This person that's talking to you, she sounds like kind of a nice person. So I am hardwired not to be nice. And so I've had to work really hard. And I have come to like that word. I used to think if I had, you don't understand how hard it is for me. That was what I would say. And you guys would say, oh, yes, we do. We've been there. So then I would try to get your sympathy another way. But it really feels good to do something hard and to feel satisfied and to look at all of you, and I can honestly say, I love GreySheeters Anonymous, and I have 1 minute, and I feel kind of like Lou Gehrig, if anybody's old enough. I feel like the luckiest person in the world, just because I had 22 years of going around and around that revolving door. Then I had another 3.5 years in GreySheet, wondering why me, why can't I get it? And then I was blessed. I was blessed with willingness to surrender to no matter what, no matter what, no matter where, no matter when, no matter who. And I don't make independent food decisions today. And that's a miracle. And I just don't. And I make my phone calls, I do service, and I'm not going to stop any of that because I don't want to find out what's the thing that if I don't do it, it's the thing that will not keep me abstinent. So thank you. Thank you very much for asking me to share. I'm not sure about the dubious honor of being the queen of relapse, but if I really do believe that, as the big book says, my story is my most important and my most valuable asset. And so I thank you. I don't know what else to say. Thank you so much.